is for our LJ Realty team members, and this one is going to be a special one because we're going to go through a new software for our documents. But more importantly, we're going to go through other weekly updates that we do. So let's get started. Okay. So the interest rates as of last week, according to Freddie Mac, they were around 7.18, but according to your Mortgage News Daily, they were at 7.21. Very similar. We did have it jump up. It went up to close to 7.49 that you can see here, and they came down. A lot of our files, they were really debating should they actually lock their interest rate or should they wait, right? And we tell them, hey, we don't have any crystal ball. We have no idea if they will go up or down tomorrow because your clients really want to lock in and close that file, right? So those were the clients that were really debating. Some of them took their action and actually locked it when they were a little bit on lower side. They went down to around 7.06 last week, and they locked it in around that time. Again, saving few basis points here can save them hundreds of dollars in that 30-year mortgage payment. So these interest rates, when you see 7.21 or 7.5, 7.9, huge differences in your mortgage payment. Okay, but your FHA, they're a little bit lower than 7%, 6.78. Okay, one of the biggest things that we want to tell you guys that for your FHA loans, your clients do have to pay 1.7% upfront cost, right? That can be financed, but still they're paying. So there's pros and cons to your conventional loan and your FHA. Your client should speak with your loan officer or their loan officer and see both options. Okay, we had this scenario yesterday where Josh was explaining to one of the clients both benefits. I believe she was paying 10% down payment and was thinking that maybe they have to go with FHA. But when he gave them pros for conventional, hey, you will not, have to worry about PMI staying there for 11 years with FHA because she's putting 10%. If you put less than that, it will never go away. So if they're putting 10%, there's a good chance your conventional loan, even if the interest rate's a little bit higher, the loan officer can give them a full breakdown. Hey, if you're going to go with the conventional, you're going to have more savings down the line. Okay, the loan officer should be doing that. In some cases, FHA is a best option for that client. Maybe they have a lower credit score. Maybe they do want to go with 3.5% down payment. So then you have your FHA option there. We never say any of them is better or worse, but it depends on your client and their situation. Also, on the other hand, we had few files that was coming from other agencies with arm loans, right? There are some benefits to the arm loan. Arms are loans that are adjusting, right? But in this day and age, we usually don't recommend these just because these interest rates will change and you don't want to jeopardize that for your client, right? They want a fixed payment for 30 years. Okay. So when we say, hey, they are 7%, they're really high interest rate, what do I do? Um, yeah, PMI can change, but it really depends on their credit scores. The lowest it's 0.55 and highest it goes above 1%, Sclaren, but it can change. Okay. So when we're talking to these clients, right, when you are judging the interest rates for today, saying, hey, they are 7%, but when we're looking at it historically, it's not too bad. I mean, people do get used to it. I mean, we are now going back to 1970s or 80s, but you can see the interest rate were above 10%, and people were still buying. I was watching a couple of videos online. People were getting interviewed when the interest rates were around 13, 14%, and people were still buying houses. People who have to buy a house, they will not worry about the interest rate. More importantly, they will worry about which properties is available, the inventory. Okay. So when we have these interest rates really high, you can tell them, hey, we have seen more than 10% in the past. Now it's around 7%. As long as you can find a good property, find a good deal, you guys going to be doing the comps for them. They can actually have some equity built over the years. Okay. So here are some news updates from different channels. So sellers are slashing prices in 10 metros. So you guys are the realtors. Are they really slashing prices in New York? I highly doubt it. Okay, just because there's a very low inventory out there, any seller that you speak to, number one concern is that, hey, I don't want to sell because I have a low mortgage payment. I don't want to sell. I don't have to sell. But if you have to sell, they're not going to slash any prices. They're going to speak to you and say, hey, do the comps for me, give me the best price, the highest offer, and give me the maximum profit. Right, that's your job as a realtor. You're negotiating for the seller. Okay, mortgage rates pull back. Did they really pull back? By how much? We just saw that it was pulled back from around 20 to 30 basis points, right? They are still above 7%, but they pulled back compared to last week. Okay. Pending home sales improved in July. Yes, we are seeing people who are really ready to go. They were, in July, August was the time they were going under contract. Now the schools are starting. There's a good chance people who are settled in with those schools, they're going to wait maybe another year or not, for to make that move. Okay. So overall, under contract in July, we would expect that when it comes for August stats, that the pending home sales should increase. But in August, in September rather, or in October, it should decrease because not a lot of people are moving at that time. Who are going to be moving is people who have to move, right? That really need to move. They've been waiting for quite some time and they want to move on. They will purchase that property. Okay. Application up, breaking weeks of long downward streak. We had mortgage applications reduced just because the interest rates were really high. People were ready to purchase. Then all of a sudden, when the interest rates goes high, they say, "Hold up, let me just start shopping around. Maybe have my offer sent in, but I don't know if I'm going to move forward or not." But now, like we said, in July and August, people were applying for these mortgages, and it ticked up around 2.3%. Okay. Another article was that home prices heat up. We see the same thing here. When we're doing the comps, when we're representing the buyer out there, we're doing the comps and try to get them the best price. Before we're talking about representing the seller, trying to get them maximum. When you're representing the buyer, you're gonna have them save as much as possible, right? That's why we always say that, hey, when you're representing a seller and you're trying to represent the buyer, it's hard to do both end. Some of us we like, hey, I'm going to make double the commission, let me go ahead and do this. But end of the day, one of them should be enough. Okay. When you're representing the buyer, you want the best thing for your buyer, so you want to negotiate down the price much as possible. How are you going to do that when you're representing the seller as well? On one hand, you're telling the seller, hey, I'm going to get you the maximum price, and then you're on the buyer side, you're telling them, hey, I'm going to get you the best price possible, the lowest price, right? Those they don't go hand in hand. If you have two different agents, they will do the negotiation. Okay. But once you guys put in the right do the comps and put in the offers, there's a good chance your offer should get accepted when you're putting in the offers there. Okay. Another news that all of our realtors should know this, because there are a lot of people who are trying to rent out, right? There's a new law going in effect for New York City that will restrict short-term rentals. So if you're trying to rent your property on Airbnb and you're gonna have them stay there for 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, there's gonna be restrictions from New York City. Okay, the law requires owners to register their home and stay with their guest for reservation less than 30 days. It's gonna be a little awkward for them to stay with them and rent that out for Airbnb. So in New York City, it's just making it a little bit more difficult. Okay, why are they doing this? This is just my opinion. Just because we have a rental shortage, we have that problem. So the city wants, the residents who are living here so they can stay in those properties for longer, right? The owner thinks that, hey, I'm going to make more money when I have short-term rentals coming in, from Airbnb, and I'm making maybe double the cost or double the rent that I'll be doing from a regular person. So there's benefit to the owner, but that's why New York City is putting in restrictions on this. Okay, especially for Long Island clients as well. So not just the New York City, Long Island clients, they have their own restrictions, especially if they're in a village, right? The village will have even their overlays for them. Hey, you cannot have any short-term rentals. and these Nassau County, Suffolk County, they're checking these addresses on Airbnb and other websites, right? To make sure that no owner is displaying their property on the market for short-term rentals. So if you have a conversation with your owners and they're talking about renting, on Airbnb, do mention this so this way you stay up to date with the market. Okay. New constructions, right? New constructions are new built properties. Like we mentioned, when you see one, take some action, right? If you see the work being done and you see a sign with the phone number, call them, see the specs for the property, see when it will be done. You already have plenty of clients from Zillow and elsewhere in your KV core, so you have clientele. Some of you guys are expert in real estate, some of you guys are just starting out. But when you see something that's under construction, take some action, right? You can see that in South is a lot more than what we have in Northeast here, 220,000 compared to almost 800,000. In South, we know that there's a lot more houses being built there compared to us here. But then again, whatever house that you do see, just take some action, right? Take a photo, see if you don't see the address next door to that property, right? And then you can do the math and see like, hey, this property is going to be 11738 compared to 11736 or whatnot. Okay. So new construction, take some action, guys. So you guys want to be the guide for your homeowners, right? This is our first time homeowners. You are a realtor, so they're expecting you guys to know different programs that are out there that's offered by New York State and New York City. So you guys should have a brief idea what they mean, right? If you can guide your client and they can get a grant or they can get some sort of assistant program because they do qualify, they will thank you and they will give you plenty of referrals, right? So you want to be knowledgeable and know these programs do exist out there. So one of them is called State of New York Mortgage Agency, Sony Ma, right? It offers range of mortgage programs, including low interest loans and down payment assistance, right, is designed to help first-time home buyers purchase homes in New York State. As a New York State agency, so you want to guide them. We did a one webinar just on this. If you guys just Google Sonima, find out different specs, the qualification, you guys can help out your clients. Another one is called Mortgage Credit Certificate, which is MCC. This is not a grant, but is rather a federal tax credit program. Is designed for low and medium income homebuyers, reducing their federal income tax liability. Right? MCC are not loans, but rather a tax incentive that will make homebuyers more affordable. Right? It just makes your home ownership more affordable. So you want to, help out these clients. If you don't know what MCC is, well, you just found out what it is right now. It's going to be a federal tax credit. You want more details? Google it, find out more details, write down your notes. Hey, this is how you're going to be eligible for this. This is what you need. We're just showing you the way you guys going to actually walk that way. Okay. Another one is called New York City Housing Development Corporation, HDC, right? All these slides will be shared with you later on. So if you are thinking that, hey, I didn't get a chance to write this down, everything will be shared by end of the day. So New York City Housing Development Corporation, HDC, focuses on affordable housing. It offers programs like home first down payment assistance programs, right? Again, it provides assistance to low income first time home buyers in New York City. Okay. Another one is called Neighborhood Housing Services, right? This is not a program, but it's more for education and consulting services, which can be valuable for your first time home buyers, right? So you want to tell them, hey, you have no idea about this. This is a public service, Neighborhood Housing Services. So you want to Google it, find out more information, and then forward that to your client. Okay. Another one is called New York City Housing Connect. This is the website for the screenshot of the website here. Okay. It lets you connect to a portal which you can find and apply for affordable rental and home ownership opportunities, right? Across 5 boroughs of New York City. Again, if you have never visited this website, visit the website, right? See what's going on there. and then you can help out your client. And how does this Housing Connect work? You complete your profile. They have a lottery system where these people who are not making enough money, but they can get into a nice apartments, affordable apartments, is through a lottery system. Not everyone will get into it, but it's one of those options. Like, why not do this, right? If selected, confirm your eligibility and then provide your documents. You're going to sign your lease or you're going to purchase the property. They do have the rental side and they have the buying side. Okay. So this one is called Housing Connect. So a lot of them, I just want to review it real quick. So you have Sonima here, you have MCC, you have HDC, NHS, and then NYC Housing Connect. Okay. There's plenty more. There's a lot of programs out there. I just chose these so you guys can get started. When you guys talking about, hey, do you know of any assistant program? Your answer should be yes. The question to them is that, do they are they eligible for that program? That might be a different story. But the first question to from them to you as a realtor is, do you know of any assistant programs? Your answer should be yes. Okay. So you want to educate your clients, you want to guide them much as possible, you want to educate them much as possible. But how are you going to do this but if you don't know about these programs, right? We have 70 agents. Out of 70, 10 of them are attending right now, right? Only 10 of these people. Maybe another 10 will watch the video later on. That's 20, right? There's plenty of other realtors. They just feel like they know their stuff. Do they really know their stuff? You guys be the judge, right? So we have to be always be learning. We're in a real estate market. We have, and the market is changing almost every single day, right? We have different interest rates going in and out, going up and down. We have different programs, we have new inventory. So we have to educate ourselves, so when you're talking to these clients, you seem like, not just seem, but you know your stuff. You're gonna know your stuff just by learning, devoting some time towards real estate. And really big ups to you guys for joining these meetings and really trying to learn. Okay. Any questions, concerns on these programs, guys? All right, guys. Next is, I want you to be beware of these spam emails that we're getting, right? They get really tricky and they look legit. So this is a screenshot from yesterday that I got this email that's saying, "Hey, your password expired." Right? It looks like it's for LJ Realty Team. My As soon as I'm scrolling over this where it says keep current password, on the bottom here, you will see which link it will take me. It has nothing to do with Microsoft. It's taking me to another website. As soon as I click on it, maybe something will download on on my computer, and the hackers will have access to my computer. As simple as that. They just want you to. They're not getting you when they're sending you an email. They're getting you when you actually open that email and click on the link. If you don't click on the link, there's nothing that will be done to your computer. But if you do click on the link, something will download, right? So just be aware of this. If you haven't if you need to reset your password, or if you feel like it's going to expire, when you're actually logging into the software, they will tell you. But if you're not expecting any email for the passwords or anything like that, please do not click on these emails. Okay. Next is your email signatures. Majority of you guys already came to the office, met with Sukman, our law office assistant here, and she already set up majority of these email signatures, right? So thank you for that. And people who have not done it yet, it takes less than 5 minutes. Just come to the office, log into your email, and she can help you set up something like this, where it has your name, your position, your cell, your photo, our company logo, and when you're sending out these offers, it just makes you look a lot more professional. Okay. So please have, email signature set up if it's not set up yet. Okay. And I believe I was having a conversation with one of the agents, and he was saying that, hey, he wants to pay for, or he is paying separately for Excel files or for Outlook services. So Word, Excel, anything has to do with Microsoft, right? So we as a company, when we're paying for this Outlook email for you guys, they have a lot more going on. All the software I just mentioned is included in that plan, right? In order to access that, when you're logged into your Outlook, you want to click on these dots that you see on the left top corner, right? When you click on this, you will get a menu like this. It will say all the apps. It will obviously have your Outlook, will have OneDrive, it will have Word, Excel, PowerPoint, everything that you need. Okay. So in your Outlook on top here, this is going to be the menu. Okay, and you guys have full access to this. So if you want to type up something for your Word, you can literally click on this. It will open up a Word file and you can start editing that. Same thing for Excel or any of the other software that you see. But the top ones that we see is Outlook, Word, and Excel. Okay. All right, guys. Any questions so far? All right, guys. So next we're going to talk about we are updating our software from dot loop to Instanet transaction desk, right? So Instanet transaction desk is going to be your app. It's already built in your MLS. So we're going to go through that. Why are we moving from dot loop? Is just that it has limited seats. So right now, out of 70 agents, not everybody has dot loop, right? So once we run out of seats, we have to purchase them. With Instanet transaction desk here, is part of your MLS. So even when MLS is updating a new form, it will automatically be updated in Instanet. So we don't have to worry about, with the compliance side. Okay. Some of our agents were already using this Instanet transaction desk at the other agencies out there. Back in the days, it was not, up to date as it is right now. So we're gonna run through that, and you guys tell me if you guys have any questions. Okay. So what is your transaction desk? It's very similar to dot loop. When it comes to all your paperwork, it's going to be in your transaction desk. When you're asking for e-signatures, it's going to be part of that. It's going to have all the forms that you need. It will be in there included. Okay. So we're going to actually log in and see how that looks. So everyone can see my screen now. I'm in Stratus. One person, anybody can see this? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So once you're logged in, right, this is your status here normally. So you're going to click on resources and then you're going to click on the first link that you see here, Instanet. Okay. It's going to ask you to log in, or because you're already logged in through Stratus, it should just take you to the home page. Okay. So if you see something like that, this is usually advertisement. You can just X that out and your dashboard should look something like this. Okay. On the left side here, you'll see a menu. And then here you can see your widgets of different things. So what are the things that we have to worry about? One is your transactions, right? So each client, just like how we had in dot loop, that one client should have one transaction. Okay. So you have that client showing them that property. In that transaction, you can have different forms that you need. You need the sales binder, right? You need your disclosures. Any disclosure that you need will be part of your forms. And when you want to send it for e-signatures, it's going to be through authentic sign and it's part of your transaction. So I'm going to start from scratch and show you the whole 9 yards of this. Okay. So we already set up your templates and everything. But because it's already logged in through your Stratus, the first thing that you want to do is click on this icon, your profile icon, and click on settings. Okay. And you want to click on preferences and then user information. Make sure that everything's up to date. When I logged in, my phone number was outdated. It was showing for old brokers that I was with years ago. So you want to update that. So start from the top, and you're just gonna make sure that all your information is accurate and fill that out. Okay, and update it if necessary. So the top piece, you have your own user profile information. Make sure your license number is there as well. Where it says agent ID, this is usually your Stratus login. Okay, that's going to be your ID. It should be already filled for you. For your website, definitely put your website here, right? So if for Joseph, put joseph.ljvlt, Tracy at .ljvlt, same thing for Sheldon, and so on and so forth. So make sure that you have your website in here, okay? And then you're going to click on update. Next, you have your office. You should not, I don't think you can change anything in here, but you can just make sure that you are part of LJ Realty showing up here. For example, if anybody's having seen any other agency, just let us know and we'll get that updated. Okay. And then for your email signature, you can put something like, your name, your position, the company name, and our address here. Okay. Then from branding, you definitely want to make sure your headshot is in there. If you need copy of your headshot, right, a photo of it, just send us a message. Sukman or I, we will send you your photo that we have on our file. Okay. Same thing for the company logo. If you have the company logo, great. If you need it, you let us know and we'll give you that file. Okay. If you want to change your password, you can change it from here. So in preferences, the biggest and the most important thing is your user information. Make sure it's accurate and it's up to date. Okay. So that's going to be your profile. On the left here, you can see that if I click on here, you can see this is the dashboard, transactions, signing, forms, documents. What we really want you to focus on is going to be your transactions and signing. How many transactions I have and how many signings. Let's say you send out an offer letter and the person hasn't signed yet. You will see who signed, who hasn't signed yet. Okay. So we already set up our profile. We went through our settings and set that up. And now let's add a transaction. Okay. So in your dashboard, you're going to click on create transaction. For the name, we will put the same as we were using in dot loop, right? The same format. So we can say, hey, it's going to be Bob and he's a buyer. And let's say Tracy is the agent, right? So we have Bob the buyer and Tracy's the agent. And for templates now, we did a very similar thing to what we had in dot loop. We have A for buyer, B for seller, C for tenant, and D for your landlord, right? So we're gonna go with the buyer, so we'll go with buyer. Okay. We don't have to use import data and add. It's asking you who are you representing? Are you the selling agent or the listing agent? Some of you guys, especially the new agents, they get confused with the word selling agent and seller's agent, right? We never say seller's agent. We simply say listing agent when we're representing the seller. But when we're representing the buyer, we're either the buyer's agent or selling agent, selling with ing in the back. Okay. So that will be your selling agent or buyer's agent. Always have this where it says check, use wizard, leave that checked, and then click on create. Okay. So when I review it so far, all I did was click on add create transaction. This pop-up window came up, put in the name, template, and then selling agent. Then hit create. Okay. So the good thing about this is like, it will tell you the statuses here too, that you want to leave it open in the beginning and then close it. We don't want to worry about all the other statuses and confuse you guys with that. Just open and closed. I have a transaction open as is under contract and it will close or is closed. Okay. So just these two statuses you should be using. Okay. We already said that through the template that you selected, already selected that there's going to be a residential sale. If you already have the addresses, you can put it in. If you don't worry about filling out this piece here. Okay. The more information you put in here, that's good. Otherwise, you can just leave it at that. Okay. Because this is going to be part of the wizard. So you're in step number 1. You're putting in the details. If you have the details, great. Otherwise, leave them. Click on next. This is the transaction date. Right now, you have no idea about this, right? You are just getting started with this transaction, so you don't know these dates, so leave it blank. Contacts, these are the most important piece here, right? It already has your information as a selling agent. It will automatically has us as a, as a broker here, and then you want to add as many people as possible, right? Your buyers, the people who's going to be signing. So tell the system who are the buyers right away. Click on add contact, create new transaction contact, or add existing contact. So let's say you already have a transaction with the client and he's purchasing a second property, then you his information will already be in the system. If it's a brand new client, you're clicking on create new transaction contact, and it's asking what type of client this is. He's a buyer. Their first name, he's Bob. What's his last name? Smith. What's his email? bobsmith@gmail.com. Okay. What's his legal name? Maybe Bobby, right? Otherwise, you just have their first name, last name, and email address is perfectly fine. Similar to what we were doing in dot loop. And click on add to address book. Once you have done that, you can click save, and you can see Bobby's right here. Okay. We are still on step 3. Now we're going to click on next. Because you selected a template, you're representing the buyer, the forms are already there for you, right? You have your agency disclosure and you have your sales agreement binder. When you see this sales agreement binder, this is your offer letter, right? This agreement is being used by MLS, and you can see if you're the listing agent, a lot of offers that come in from other agencies. 80% of these people are using this binder, so we want to go through this binder and make sure that you guys know about this. Okay. And then you have your other disclosure for anti-discrimination. Okay. The most important, just to get the ball rolling, is going to be your agency disclosure and your binder. So if you want to add any forms, you can click on add, but because you selected a template, everything's there for you. You're going to click next. If you want to add other documents, what documents can you add? Your pre-approval letter. So let's say they already gave you a pre-approval and you're going to go back and forth with emails trying to look for it. If they already gave you that pre-approval letter, just add it in here. Click on add and just browse and add that file in there. Okay. And then click done. That was your wizard. Now you're in the transaction dashboard. You can see this the overview for this. This is a residential sale. The status is open. This is going to be the address. All that good stuff for the details for that property. On the right side, you will see all the forms. Under documents, these are not the forms, but just actual documents, just like pre-approval letter, bank statements, proof of funds, anything that they give you, you can add it here. And when you're ready, you're going to send it for authentic sign for them to e-sign this. Okay. So the first one that we want to focus on is going to be your agency disclosure. It was not the agency disclosure I clicked on. Tracy. Agency disclosure for buyer and seller. Right? We want to get that e-signed. Okay. The form will already be pre-filled because it's part of MLS. It's pulling all your information from there. So it has your name, the company name, and now you're representing the buyer and you're a buyer's agent. And then where it says we, this is where you're going to put Bob Smith, and he's a buyer. Okay. So now let's say you want to send it you have already filled this out. You can click on save and exit, or you can click on send to for e-signature. So once you see this form here, who's going to be signing, you can see on the right side here, you can add yourself or you can add from contact. We know Bob is going to be signing. I hit select. Then you can see Bob is here. Okay. Click next. And here you have an option that do you want this form to expire in a month or not. You can leave it the way it is, it's already in there for a month, right? Or do you want to send any reminders to this client? I would leave it the way it is and click on send. Okay, once we have sent that, you can see the status of it, that it's already sent but is not completed yet. It says 0 out of 1 completed. Okay, so once the person does sign it, you will see that it's already signed. It will show completed. So before we just had the forms here, now you can see the same form. It's already in authentic sign and you can see that status is sent. Okay, and that's going to be your whole from dot loop to transaction desk in a nutshell. That's what we are actually doing in your in dot loop, right? In dot loop, another thing that we have is going to be our checklist, right? But before that, I just want to go over our binder. So the second form that we have is our sales agreement binder. This is going to be your offer letter. So let's click on this. Right? Some of you guys can look at this form and you guys are very familiar with this because especially the listing agents, a lot of other agencies, EXP, Cal Williams, a lot of big agencies out there, they use these forms. And one of the things I like about this form is that it's approved by our LIBOR, right? And this is a sales binder called Form 400. Okay. So if everyone else is using it, why not us using the same form as well? Okay. So on top, you have your date. That says today's date here. We have the name for the purchaser is Bobby Smith. We have no clue who the sellers are, so we leave that blank. So the first thing is going to be the property address. We are submitting an offer for 123 Main Street in South Ozone Park. Okay. And now are the following terms. So we're going to use the example for $500,000. Okay. Is it user friendly to submit offers? Yeah, I mean, very like once you have these forms signed, you download them, Sclaren, and you just say email it to the listing agent. Simply, just similar to what we're doing at Dot Loop. Okay, so we have our offer here. We are going to put in an offer for $500,000. Number two, you have your good faith deposit. We put that 0. The earnest deposit that we're talking about, where everybody's familiar with, is going to be your number 3, down payment payable on formal contract. Okay. So let's say we said if it was a single family, by default, you want to put down on the contract $10,000. Oh, that's too many zeros. Okay. And let's say now, let's do the calculation here. If it's $500,000 minus, let's say they're putting down 20%, you have $100,000 that they're putting down. Out of that $100,000, they're putting down $10,000 on the contract, and they're going to be bringing in $90,000 on the closing. So $90,000 will go here. And the mortgage now, if the down payment is 100,000 and the purchase price is $500,000, you need $400,000 mortgage. Okay. So when you add 10 plus 90 plus 400,000 should equal to $500,000. Sorry, number 5 right here. And the total is 500,000. Okay. So number 2, always blank. We're not putting anything as a good faith deposit. That good faith deposit is only on the contract, which is number 3 here. So you have $500,000, $10,000 on the contract, $400,000 for the new mortgage, and $90,000 remaining of their down payment equals to $500,000. Okay. Then for financing, the sale is subject to condition upon buyer obtaining a fixed rate or variable mortgage in the amount of $400,000, right? If you leave this blank, it's perfectly fine, right? Because this amount, they might say, hey, I'm putting down 20%, then they might end up putting 10%, right? They want to have renovations done, so they have some money saved up. It's perfectly fine, right? And they're going to be doing it for 30-year mortgage. We can leave all this blank, okay? Because we're just telling our agent that this is what we're putting in, okay? If they want to exclude anything, include anything, you want to put in this offer here. On page two, you simply having your client sign here, or you're putting in, if they have an attorney, just like we asked for the offer letter in our old one, you're going to put in their attorney's information here. When we're submitting the offers, usually they don't have an attorney, and it's okay to submit your offer without this. Okay. So again, when we actually transition from dot loop, it might take a couple of weeks once we fully have done this, but we're going to be using this all the way. Okay. So we want to make sure that all of you guys are aware of this, that we will be making this change, that you guys are actually using these software in coming weeks. Okay. So all this, even this PDF, I will share with you guys. So this way, when you guys submitting an offer, you guys can follow along with these numbers. Okay. Any questions on this, guys? So agency disclosure and your offer letter should be, sent through our new transaction desk. Every one of you guys have access to this because you're part of MLS, just by going to resources, Instanet. Okay. The first thing is to do is actually just create a sample file, just like how we did it now. Just run a sample file and see how that goes. Okay. Always, if you click on dashboard, it will take you to your dashboard here. If I want to go back to that file, I just click on that Bob Buyer Tracy file, and I have everything in here. Some of you guys are using checklists that we have in dot loop, right? Because it really tells you which step that you're on. So same thing here, you have your checklist for this file. And the breakdown should be, we even consolidated our checklist from dot loop, that the first step is like, offer sent with disclosures and your pre-approval letter, right? That's your simple. You're sending your offer, disclosures, and pre-approval letter, and hopefully you get a call within 24 hours. Hey, your offer has been accepted. As soon as your offer is accepted, you want to make sure you check this off just by clicking in here, and it's completed. Okay. And you can see this bar getting filled. And before you had this icon, now you have this icon. Okay. Once you have that, you're going to schedule your inspection. Hey, inspection is cleared. Hopefully you're supporting our agent, San, and he can do the inspection for you guys. And we have that here. Once there's no issues with the inspection, you have your contract signed. Both sides signs it. It's a fully executed contract. You check that off. Then you want to make sure that your buyer's attorney, as soon as the contract is signed, within a day or two, that your buyer's attorney orders the title report, right? So once that's done, you're checking that off. A week from that time, usually, some lenders like with our LJ Mortgage, we try to provide the commitment letter within 48 hours from the application, right? So some other banks might take a little bit longer, but within a week time frame, you want to make sure that you have a commitment letter from your buyer's bank. Once you have that, you check that off. Meanwhile, your bank should be scheduling an appraisal, so you have to worry about that. Make sure that the appraisal is good. Appraisal is scheduled. Right, on the back end of this transaction, your buyer is actually working with the loan officers, and providing their conditions. They're trying to. You don't have to be involved in that, right? The loan officer should be doing all of that. The only thing you're waiting for the loan officer to say is that, hey, your file is clear to close. Okay, they're telling you guys, hey, your file is clear to close. Then you're gonna go ahead and do a final walkthrough, right? Some of our transactions did have an issue with the final walkthrough. After the final walkthrough is done, they think that they still can make some changes. That is it. The final walkthrough is final, like literally. Like you cannot do anything after that. The seller is not going to be obligated to fix anything unless you point that out at the final walkthrough, right? All your question, and keep asking your clients to, hey, do you have any questions? If you do, this is the time to ask me. This is if you want to get something fixed or whatever your concerns are, do it now, not at the closing table. And once you have that, you're going to check that off and you're going to be 100% complete. Okay. So on the right side here, you can see your dashboard. You can see the details for that transaction. You can see the contacts for that transaction. Let's say you want to add Bobby's wife, Jane, James, Jane, to this transaction. You can do the same thing here. Okay. You want to look at the forms. You can see all the forms here. You want to look at the documents. You can see them here. Signing. Again, we send this. We're waiting for her to sign. Oh, okay. So one thing about from dot loop to Instanet was that I don't see any difference when it comes to functionality. Right, there was nothing missing from dot loop to Instanet. It is the UI, it's a little different, but it's very clean. You should be, once you spend at least 10-20 minutes on this, just by logging, you guys already have access to this, so there's no separate logins or anything like that. But you just go through Stratus, click on your resources and log in and do a transaction, and do a test transaction for yourself. Right, send it to your use yourself as a buyer, and send it for e-signatures, and do the whole transaction by yourself, so this way you guys will see what your client will experience. Okay. All right, guys. So again, we're not dropping dot loop as of today, but we want to, this was our first hint to you guys that we will be switching the software. This is already built in. We want you guys to use it. There's no issues with this. There's a lot of functionalities, and this software is already included in your membership. So that's the biggest reason that we're using this. So this way, when we have 200 agents, 300 agents, we don't have to worry about seats for dot loop. We hate changing software. We hate doing any of these transitions, but we're doing it for the long run. Right, when we have a lot of agents, how are we going to actually scale on that when the software is already included in your membership, compared to dot loop where we have to purchase each seat. Okay. Oh yes, yes, yeah, Mr. Ali, yeah, you mentioned that with us too and everything. What was your experience like using the software? Yes, I can hear you. Yep. It's just like we can hear you, but just like kind of low. But go ahead. All I heard was like he used it, he loved it, and I think that's a good selling point to you guys. Mr. Ali, he's very, like, he's always on top of his transactions, and if he's already using it, that's another plus point to the software. But you guys be the judge and provide honest feedback. If you guys have any issues with this, tell us. Hey, I'm having issues with this, with the e-signing, with that. And like I said, thousands and thousands of agents are using it on daily basis, not hundreds, thousands of them using it on daily basis, right? So everything that we need is included. Again, the first, my question was, what's the difference between forms and documents? Forms is going to be what we have in our system to fill out and all that, right? But documents is anything that the person gives it to you. The buyer give you the pre-approval is your number one document. A proof of funds is going to be your number two document. Any of those documents you can add it here. So again, very simple, straightforward. You guys can use this on daily basis, practice this, and ask us any questions that you guys have. Right? Yes, sir. Now is better, much better. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. And that's perfect. Yep. Perfect. Nice. Perfect. So when that time comes, we will share that with our agents here, so hopefully they can use it as well. And yeah, and the one thing that you just mentioned, so I want to point that out. So these are the forms that we already chose as a template, right? But now, if you click on this plus sign and you click on one key MLS, you can see all the forms that the MLS has to offer, every one of them. It's already part of it. All you got to do is just add them. Right, you have a listing cancellation form, your property condition form, everything that the MLS has, withdrawal form, is part of it. If anything gets updated, we don't have to worry about us updating it manually. The system will automatically do this, right? So again, guys, in order to log in, make sure that you're logged into your Stratus. Click on Resources, Instanet. We will have this link replaced with Loop in coming weeks. But before we do any touching Loop, we just want to make sure that you guys are on board with Instanet and you guys are actually using it. So the request is that all of you guys start a sample file. Use yourself as a sample. Use your personal email as a buyer and send us a couple of disclosures, fill out an offer sheet, and just get used to it. So this way, when you're actually doing this file with the client, you know what you're doing. Okay. Questions, concerns, anything in your mind, guys?